Hello everyone, welcome back to a new dawn. Let's go ahead and continue. We sort of lost track of time just hanging out in the serene emptiness of the stern. Things to say jumped in and out of my head, but none of it seemed worth ruining the moment. Including asking how she didn't seem to feel cold in that outfit. I'm cold and I'm wearing pants and a jacket. Where are you going? Huh? What? That was probably a bad way to break her out of her daydreaming. I mean, not like right now, once we dock. Where are you headed? That seemed like important information I'd yet to learn. Andela Town. You know Cynthia? Oh, Cynthia. Like Elite Four champion Cynthia? Sure. Well, she kinda invited me to her villa. To train with her. Huh. Wow, I assume she doesn't say that to everybody, huh? Guess I'll find out in a week. How about you? Boy, I didn't think this through. My plan was just to hop off at the first stop and see what happened. Not much of a plan, I guess. But I can't just say that, can I? I don't know. You don't know? I want to see something new every day. That's why I left home, and that's why I do everything, I guess. So every day's a new journey. So I guess I don't really know where I'm going. I'll have to see. A drifter standing here talking to a master coordinator. That's really amazing. Aww, I think that's really cool. That's not the reaction I was expecting. Reminds me of Ash. Of course it does. He was always antsy to get moving every day. I remember thinking he was too impatient sometimes, but I guess he was just like you. You're both adventurous at heart. Oh, look at her smile. So cute. Oh. Knowing what she's already told me about him, in comparison is a pretty nice compliment. Thanks. Oh my gosh, it's late. You gotta stop doing this to me. I moved to apologize, but her giggling as she scooped up Piplup told me she wasn't serious. We should really turn in. I gotta get this guy some food and maybe give my mom a call. Thanks for hanging out with us, though. This was fun. Same time tomorrow? Yeah, sounds great. Tone it down. If you think you can wake up on time. For you, you bet. Dawn waved to me while Piplup waved to Scyther as he trotted away, disappearing behind the wall that separated us from the rest of the ship. Scyther startled me with a bump on the shoulder, his drooped eyes and smirk looking down at me. Sigh. Was that better? Sigh. Well, I've got plenty more embarrassing stories starring you, so let's see if that comes up again. He squinted his eyes at me, giving a quick puff of his nostrils and strolling down the side of the ship towards our usual spot. I turned to the setting sun for a moment, falling behind with a hand on the rail. Well, I'd call that a successful date. That definitely counts as a date. In my fantasy, at least. Waking up with a smile is a nice change of pace. Dawn actually wants to hang out again, despite meeting me. She even mentioned having an idea what to do today, so we'll get to see what that is. Oh boy, this couch isn't getting any more comfortable. I'm just glad I don't seem to be the only one sleeping outside their room. I've seen other passengers napping in the ship's various soft chairs and couches all over the decks, presumably after a night of alcohol and gambling. Makes me stick out less. I hopped up, eyeing the handful of vending machines in the corner of the lobby where I'd been getting my morning pick-me-ups. Which I think I'm gonna have to skip today. After paying for Dawn's breakfast yesterday, my wallet's a little lighter than I'm comfortable with. Alright, let's go see what her big idea is. I rounded the usual corner to our rendezvous point to see Dawn as it was already sitting there with Pepple up in her lap. I guess since I beat her to it yesterday, she wanted to return the favor. She noticed me approaching behind her, flipping around in her chair with her usual smile. Good morning. Pip pip. Oh my god, Piplup. Hey, you look pretty cheery. Yep, feeling pretty good today. I've always liked the morning sea air. She took a deep breath through her nose, immediately coughing it back out in a fit. Ah, that's the stuff. Plus, I got a pretty cool idea what we could do today. I remember. Prepare to be disappointed by what we got. So little faith in me. Don't look at me like that. You'll just have to find out. Unless you had a better idea. Let's see. Let's get breakfast first. How about breakfast before we start the day? I think there's a saying about how you're supposed to do that. Or something. I hope I made the right choice. Yeah, I did. Okay, great. Yeah, Mom did say that a lot. Either way. I was getting used to this place being relatively empty, but that's because I woke up several hours later than Dawn seems to like to. Now I actually had to look for a free seat. With my eyes? Just insulting, frankly. Dawn stood out to the side, eyeing piles of berries and vegetables and whatnot. I could see Piplup frown and slouch forward, possibly doing an impression of Scyther. And here we go again, comes the grand question of whether or not I pay for Dawn's food. Those freaking berries aren't cheap either. As I looked through my wallet, I glanced up to see Dawn approaching me with a smirk on her face. Why are you looking so smug? Nah, he paid for me last time. Now it's my treat, okay? Alright, can't say no to that. You beat me to it. I figured as much. Well, that solves that, I guess. Date and a free meal? Alright, well, Piplup will be happy to know that I've done a little research since last time. Dawn spoke aloud to me, making sure Piplup could hear us as well. Pip? She handed Piplup one of the many berries on her plate. It looked like a tiny cupcake. Try that out and tell me you don't like healthy food. Munch. Blip-blop. Oh, I think he likes that. Yeah, we did it. I knew we could. Piplup hopped up on the table between us, enthusiastically busying himself with scarfing down the cake berries Dawn had brought over. I too want a cake berry. Sounds nice. She leaned into me, putting her hand over her mouth and speaking softly. That one's not actually healthy. Just trying to get him in the mood to take chances, you know? I could sneak in some broccoli berries or something. She leaned back on the side, deservedly pleased with herself. This reminds me when Piplup and I first met. He didn't want to eat anything I gave him. It's kind of a Piplup thing though. It's like the very first thing a Pokédex tells you about him, I think. Oh yeah? Can I see? Sure. Let's hear it, Pokédex. Dawn fished her Pokédex out of her backpack, flipping it open and pointing it at the distracted Piplup before us. Piplup, the penguin Pokemon. Because it is very proud, it hates accepting food from people. Its thick down guards it from cold. Told ya. Shook my head with a smile. Gosh, do you just remember all those entries by heart? Well, Piplup's for sure, but I do try to keep up with as many of them as I can. It's a little easier to tell what things are at a glance, which can be nice when something's jumping out at from a bush in the wilderness. Is it a poisonous Croagunk to be feared? Or a cuddly Baneri to be loved and given hugs? I don't know any of these Pokemon. Okay, what if Croagunk wants hugs? That's true. You've always gotta be on your toes to give emergency Pokemon hugs. Let's bracket at Croagunk that was an incredibly lovable guy. Forget my rudeness. Change Croagunk to a horrible Plusle and mean it? Or... am I saying these right? I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm not. Plusle and Minot? Those two adorable teddy bears? Why them? Dawn gave me a quiet scowl at the mention of those two names, holding her arms and shuddering. I had a bad experience with them as a kid, so they kinda freaked me out. Fine. Just means more hugs for me then. Yeah, fair enough. They're not so bad. I just got bad memories. All Pokemon deserve hugs. What were you talking about? I was distracted by thoughts of Pokehugs. Something about Piplup being a picky eater? Oh yeah, our first date together. Remember that, Piplup? Piplup? Piplup glanced back at us with a beak full of food, sending crumbs flying onto the table. You want to hear that amazing and embarrassing story? Oh, absolutely. I told the Beedrill story, so it's only fair. Well, we didn't do quite that bad. Hold on. It was my very first day on the road after I left home. Even before I met Ash and Brock. It was just me and my bike on the way to Professor Whirlwind's lab. Piplup. And that's where I met this guy. And we proceeded to bumble our way through our first adventure. Well, adventure's probably a little generous. It was more of a series of misfortunes, yeah? That's a better way to put it. Doesn't that make it sound less exciting, though? Oh, I assure you, there's excitement to spare. I haven't even gotten to the legendary Pokemon part. Ooh, spoilers. Right, sorry. Okay, let me start over. I woke up on my birthday and did birthday stuff, and then my mom and I got me ready for my journey to begin. She was emotive with her hands, waving them around to emphasize the story. I had to bike over to Sangdom Town and find the professor's lab so he could give me my starter Pokemon. And that was Piplup? Piplup! Well, we're not there yet. First I had to get completely lost and wander into a bunch of random buildings. So I was about 2 hours late, all alone in a city I'd never been to. I distinctly remember saying, "I want my mom." Ah, damn, dog. It actually made me feel bad to hear that, knowing how perfect she usually is in these stories. Yeah, I wasn't always a super duper amazing coordinator, you see now. As hard as that may be to believe. Anyway, fortunately, after a while, I ended up just bumping into Professor Rowan on the street. If I hadn't done that, I might still be lost this day. So you got a history of bumping into people then? Excuse me, I thought we agreed you bumped into me. I agree to no such thing. Piplup. So. Okay, so he brought me into the laboratory, which was a huge mess thanks to some other Pokemon, which Piplup had nothing to do with. Piplup chased him into the forest, but he got stuck in Ariados' web. You know what those are? Yeah. I shuddered a bit, thinking about the spindly bugs. Despite hanging out with Scyther, they still creeped me out plenty. Yeah, they're icky. That we agree on. I don't even know where you'd hug one without getting poked. Anyway, he got Piplup down and he fought them all off in a very heroic way that definitely didn't involve us falling down a hill into the bushes. Piplup! Piplup then pecked me a lot after I offered him food. Piplup. Yes, I remember that. So on the way back to Professor Rowan's, we passed by a lake, and Mesprit said hi to me. And the Mesprit is known as the being of emotion. It taught humans the nobility of sorrow, pain, and joy. Although it slumbers at the bottom of the lake, the spirit is said to leave its body and flitter on the water's surface. That kinda sounds spooky. Yeah, that. So that's the first run-in you had with a super rare Pokemon then? Yes sir, the first of many. I met it again a few other times while busy saving the world, but that's a tale for another breakfast. This is a story of Piplup learning to eat food. Which, now that I'm saying that out loud, does sound a little less interesting. Nah, 'cause this one has Piplup in it, that makes it most interesting. Piplup smiled at me, offering a flipper for a pseudo high five, which I naturally accepted. Piplup! So, we get back to the lab, I picked Piplup as my starter, and the rest is history. We met Ash and Brock a few days later after that, so I had someone else to embarrass myself in front of. I think they had to remind me how to use a Pokeball a few times. And that's my super amazing first day story. Back to you, Piplup. Piplup looked up from Dawn's plate of food, but she began to help himself to while she was distracted talking to me. Hey, wait a sec, you already had 1,000,000 berries. Give me that! Piplup gave a sly smile, popping another bite into his mouth and winking to me as Dawn wrestled her plate away from him. I also kind of forgot we were supposed to be eating. Her pulse-pounding story of falling down a hill had me really engrossed. Maybe I should get on that. Okay, well, I'm glad that they have berries that aren't terrible. I'll have to try some new ones next time. Until then, what you want to do today? Well, what's your idea? Well, what's your great idea you're so psyched about? Okay, we're doing well, we're doing well. She beamed at my acceptance, immediately dropping everything to grab hold of me by my sleeve, and speed walked down the walkway. This absolutely cannot be good. Dawn led me around the ship and to an indoor lobby towards some elevators. Whatever she's got is probably something she spotted on our little tour. And whatever it is seems to have the two of them pretty excited. Pebble jogged behind us, murmuring an enthusiastic chant to himself in time with his footsteps. Pip, lop, pip, lop, pip, lop, pip, lop. As we assembled in front of the several elevator doors, one dinged and opened just in time for Dawn to try and prematurely scramble in. She bowed an apology to the couple she bumped into, stepping aside as they passed, and then beckoning me and Piplup into the elevator with her. Dawn took a few seconds to look up and down the floor directory framed on the wall of the elevator before tapping one of the buttons, turning to me as the door shut in front of us. What? I'm excited. I think this will be fun. Are you gonna tell me what we're doing? Patience, Far. You'll see soon enough. I hopped, crossing my arms and shifting my weight as we listened to the hum of the elevator. All I can think of to say is asking where we're going again, so I guess I'll just keep my mouth shut. And listen to the sweet, sweet music. My God, she's cute. And she smells like strawberries and sugar or something. Don't smell her, you weirdo. I wonder what she tastes like. Probably even better. I bet her whole body is sweet and sugary. I don't know what it is about her, but being in this confined space is making me dizzy. She doesn't even... Oh my gosh. Okay, snap out of it. Ah, what were you saying there, sir? She doesn't even need to try. She's just yawning and checking her watch and still looks this pretty and huggable and kissable. Whoa. And here we are. What is this place? Oh God, no way. Alright, hope you're ready for this. After your story yesterday, I knew I had to battle Kanto's premier Scyther trainer. Dawn pulled me out into the busy lobby area full of Pokemon and the trainers. This is the section of the ship full of little Pokemon arenas for battle practice. Are you serious? Yeah. You said you learned more since then. I'm gonna see it. Piplup! Oh, Piplup, you poor boy. I'm gonna beat your ass. Alright, well, she'll probably go easy on me. Boy, I could've used a coffee for this one. Well, I'm sure I'm gonna embarrass myself, but... yeah, sure. Let's do it. Alright then, Pokemon Master. Follow me. Dawn leads me through the hallways, past several Pokemon I don't recognize. Oh, excuse me. She found us a brightly lit, varnished wood-floored room to which several large, thick glass windows gave a view to outside the ship on one side, to the eyes of various spectators on the other. For full embarrassment opportunity, Dawn calls to me from the opposite side of the court. You ready over there? I fumbled in my pocket to recite this Pokeball, pulling it out and holding it in 2 hands up to my mouth. Alright, just don't embarrass yourself and it'll be fine. And popping out of it on cue, Scyther immediately shoots me an irritated glare. Relax, I was talking to myself.
Say.
He turned to face his opponent across the room as Dawn knelt down to say something to Piplup.
Alright, everyone ready? We'll go easy on you, right, Piplup? Piplup.
Don't go easy on me, Piplup. I'ma beat your ass. Okay, well, we've got size advantage here for sure. And bug types are good against water types? Maybe? Assuming that's what it is. We're gonna get destroyed. Okay, so how do we do this?
I figured you knew that much. You need to tell your Pokemon what moves you want them to do.
I know. How do we start? I exaggerated my scale so she could see across the room.
Well, how about we let you guys have the first move?
Alright, so it's a pretty short list of moves I know a Scyther can use. And what are we doing here? Swords Dance. Swords Dance makes Scyther stronger, so we should go with that. Scyther, use Swords Dance. Scyther moves his arms meditatively, spinning in place for a moment before adopting a fighting stance. Bless his heart, he's trying.
That's a good way to start. Piplup, give him a peck. Piplup.
Scyther. Ooh. Oh, that looked like it hurt. Scyther stumbled back a few steps, clutching at where Piplup impacted him on his chest. I don't think Scyther's bleeding, but he looks like he's in pain. Oh, jeez. Quick Attack. Quick Attack might help close the distance, so we'll go with that. Quick Attack! Scyther quickly dashed forward, arms outstretched. To other quick attacks, it was comparatively slow, yet he still dashed across the room with blinding speed. Sword stance is making this pretty strong. Scyther might actually land a hit.
Piplup, dodge him! Scyther!
Piplup jumped into the air, but Scyther's speed combined with Sword Stance's power-up worked wonders, and he swatted Dawn's companion out of the air. Oh my god, we just slapped him. Holy crap, we nailed it. Scyther stopped in place. I bet he's as shocked as I am.
Oh my gosh, you did it! Nice going. But we're not done yet. Piplup, Whirlpool. Piplup!
Oh my god, run away! Maya and Scyther's eyes opened wide as Piplup raised his arms, spawning a maelstrom of water above him. Scyther took a few steps backwards as the Whirlpool's force grabbed hold of him. I watched impotently as he dug his sides into the ground for a moment before getting sucked directly into the swirling water with a screech. Moments later, he spat back out by the vortex, landing soaking wet by my feet. He made a brief effort to stumble to his feet before collapsing fully onto the wooden floor. Oh gosh, I think he's unconscious. I rush over to his crumpled form to check if he's alright. He's a little beat up, but he's still moving. He shakes his head, squinting, looking up at me as Dawn and Piplup rush over.
Uh-oh. He might have forgotten our own strength, huh?
Piplup looks pretty proud of himself despite the quality of his opponent. Wasn't much of a fight, was it?
Aw, Far. You guys did great. Combining Sword Stance with a quick attack was a great strategy. Gave you just what you needed to land a hit.
And hitting my seasoned veteran Piplup is no small feat. You guys should be proud of yourselves. I'm pretty proud of you. Yay! I'm not even going to try to hide how happy I am to hear her say that. Aye. Thanks, Dawn. That means a lot, coming from you. Scyther stood underneath me, instinctively shooting his arms up to defend himself. Whoa there, buddy. Relax. We got him.
Scyther.
Scyther squeezed his eyes shut, looking away from us. He's never been a great fighter, but I can tell from his groans that he's disappointed in his performance. Man, he looks pretty defeated.
Hey, how about we work on it?
She placed a very reassuring hand on my shoulder. That was all I needed to feel reinvigorated. Especially when she offered a hand to Scyther to help him up, before retracting with a nervous chuckle as she remembered what Pokemon she was dealing with.
Right, sorry.
Scyther laughed a bit himself, pushing up off the floor and onto his feet, shaking out some of the water from Piplup's attack.
So, what do you say?
Sure, why not? We obviously got a lot to learn.
Yeah, alright, let's do this.
That is, if you think you can teach us.
Piplup and I can handle anything. Hopefully. Isn't that right, Piplup? Pip-pip-plup. That's the spirit.
Scyther and Piplup again took their positions on either side of the arena, staring each other down and taking up battle stances.
Alright, the first thing Piplup and I learned is how to dodge stuff better, so... Piplup, Bubble Beam.
By this point, the arena crowds were starting to peter out. Dawn and I found a quiet spot in the lobby with a few chairs to wind down in. I didn't realize how tiring calling out commands and letting someone else do all the hard work could be. While I fell into the chair below me, I watched the girl next to me none too gracefully do the same, fidgeting around to get comfortable. I cannot believe how cute she can be doing nothing.
Yeah, that was fun, huh?
Yeah, thanks for suggesting it. Thanks for putting up with our skill discrepancy.
That's a nice way of putting it. And you're welcome. You guys are way better than you said you were. I'm gonna battle you again. Maybe we'll beat us next time.
Maybe we could go against one of your other Pokemon? Assuming Piplup isn't your weakest fighter. Piplup gave an exaggerated frown from his seat next to Dawn.
That's a good idea. Baniri might be a better matchup for Scyther. Oh my gosh, I just realized I've never introduced you to the whole team.
Dawn suddenly fumbled in her bag for a handful of Pokeballs, looking at each intently. I listened to the clacking of the metal balls as Dawn's face got more and more excited.
Okay. Who do you want to meet first?
Well, you got me curious about Baniri, because that's a really cute name.
I know, she's even cuter than she sounds.
Ah, so that's what it is.
Look at her. Baniri, this is my new friend Far. Far, this is my old friend Baniri. Baniri.
The little bunny glanced up at me, blushing and hiding her face in her fur. Oh my goodness. Hi, Baniri.
Man,
She is super adorable.
I know. And she's a model. She's featured in Poke Chic magazine, which you've probably never heard of.
I have not.
Huh? Baniri?
Baniri poked her head out from behind Dawn's body, still looking up at me with a cutesy blush.
She's a little shy. Much unlike our next guest. Ta-da! Say hello to Hachirisu.
I have no idea who you are, and I've never seen you before, but nice to meet you.
Chiba chiba!
I don't know what it sounds like. Oh my gosh. I think I like this one.
A few facts about Pachirisu. He's an electric type, and he is also perfect in every conceivable way. Chiba chiba!
I can tell. Oh my goodness, look at that. Without worrying, the little squirrel hopped out of Dawn's arms and landed on top of my head. He was soft and light, so I didn't mind it very much. Oh my gosh. I love him. And I'm beginning to sense a pattern in the kinds of Pokemon you like.
Well then, prepare to be surprised by this boy.
What the fuck? Whoa, Nelly. Dawn spent some time introducing me to her Pokemon team, telling stories about catching them and the adventures they'd been on. I'm consistently amazed by the amount of stories she has. She's like a book that never ends. And I never want to stop reading.
Well.
Although it looks like I might have to for the night.
Boy, I'm getting pretty tired. I think you should probably turn in for the night.
Aw.
Sorry, Far. You sleep and all that. Today was super fun though. I really had a good time. I'll let you decide what we do tomorrow.
I'll start thinking.
Cool.
We sat silently for a few moments, gathering ourselves. Even these simple moments with her I wish would go on forever. Standing up off the chair in the empty lobby, Dawn remained in her seat with Piplup on her lap. She looked up at me with a smile, holding out her hand to me. I let it hover in the air for longer than I should have before finally taking it in mine to help her up off the chair. In my days, I forgot to let it go for a few months more after she stood up. To my relief, she gave an earnest smile in response to my awkward embarrassment, giggling at me and putting her hands behind her back as Piplup hopped up her side and onto her head.
Guess we'll see you tomorrow morning then.
Yep.
Yep. Remember what you learned today and you'll be a Pokemon master in no time. Or maybe you can just finally teach Scythe the Razor Leaf.
As she moved to walk away, she nudged against my side playfully to push me out of her way, walking backwards down on one of the hollows. I waited like a dope until she was out of sight, slumping back into my chair to exhale for the first time in a minute or two. I could still feel the warmth of her hand in mine. It was cozy and soft and smells like strawberries and sugar. Today was fun indeed.